Okay, hello everyone. Yeah, this will be a tutorial, as I mentioned on my Twitter, of my findings on counter rig for Unreal 5. Uh, this is a very straightforward process. There is no modules, creations, or anything that optimize the creation of the rig, but it works, and I just wanted to share with you. Hopefully it's helpful. Yeah, let's see. So I have here a character that is literally a Mixamo character that I've downloaded. Let me just move this to this screen. So yeah, there is nothing like fancy going on here. Just a skeleton with the name directly from Mixamo, and that's it. So basically, first step is create control rig. And here's what we're doing. Um, a rig. So basically, there is the forward solver is the main solver that will actually move the joints around. There is a setup event which is done before the controllers start like moving things. So this is mainly for you to place the controls in the correct place, or for example, change the color of the controls and things like that. Um, so forward solver, I'm just going to start with the FK chain for the leg. So there's a really cool functionality now that if you go here and select the joints and then right click new, add controls for selected, it gives you all the controllers already in the correct order. Um, so then what you need to do is create an FK chain, and then you can just easily drag and drop this, create an item array. So these are the controls. Then you come here, left leg, create array, and then these are your bones. And there you go, you have your FK working already. So a couple of things about the controls here. You can easily change their shapes. So see this tab here, there's an area called shape. So then you can change the shape here. So let's change for a circle, for example. You can change the size of it. Uh, you can also change the orientation. So for these three here, I'll prefer it to rotate 90 degrees. So we get them kind of like this. All these changes you're making here is just on the shape. So even if you change location and things like that, the actual rotation would still come from the correct place from the joint. You're just changing the shape position. Um, Oops, no, that one is 90. Okay, so another thing I've done in my project was start to organize this a little bit. So this will be called left leg. And then let's have a sequence here. And then first, before getting this FK, FK mode. So I want to actually, no, let's do the FK first. I wanted to hide and unhide the controls, but I can't do that yet. So this is FK mode, so let's do the IK mode. For the IK mode, we'll need new controllers. So what I've done is that I got sorry, I'm just checking here what I've actually done. So I have one that is in the position of the foot. So I'll duplicate that. To make it easy, I also created a new above selected. So then I can have my FK and my IKs all under the kind of same little group here. So these I'll call as left foot IK control. And I also need a pole vector. I'll change the shape this for a sphere so we don't get confused. Maybe it doesn't need to be that big. 1.5. Yeah, and then I'll just duplicate this and call it pole vector. So I'll call left leg pole vector IK control. So I know all my IKs are called IK basically. I need now to place the pole vector in the right place. So for that I'll go for the setup event, and then there is a new node now called compute pole vector. So I'm giving the bone of the leg, so left up leg, which is this one here, then the knee one, which is this one here, and then the foot one, and then I've been playing a bit with this and it not always works, so let's say if that works. So I'm getting the position now, and now I'm actually adding this position to the control. So I get my pole vector control, put it here, and this will be executed in global space. Yeah, so it doesn't really work. So what I've noticed that you need to check these initial ones, and then it kind of works. And here, if you play with the offset, you might get like the correct position. Personally, I felt like, yeah, you see the offset doesn't really work for some reason. I tried to play with these, it didn't really work as well. So I think what I've done is that I kind of placed in the right place and change it to initial. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so now it works. So basically, put this in initial, this in initial, and offset as 50. And it kind of works. I'm not quite sure how this is calculated, to be honest, and I would like to understand that a bit better, but for the moment, let's keep it like that. So this is a left leg pole vector version. And then I can create my IK. So back to the left leg here. Let's create an IK mode. So IK is called IK2 bone. At the moment, I'll just stick to it. So instead of having the FK working, let's have the IK working. I already know this because I've done it before, but if you don't, just kind of keep trying this to check what is the correct axis. Pole vector, here you put the control. Here you can see you put the bones. It's quite straightforward, really. So left leg, oops, and foot, and then the actual IK control. Yeah, so that's working already. What you can do is that you can change the stretch here. You can enable stretch, and then you see the leg kind of keeps going down for a little bit. And then you can change this configuration to change it to 5, and then it will really stretch. Or I don't remember how it was here. But anyway, I want to turn this off because our character really doesn't need to be stretched. Yeah, that's it. That's an IK setup. So basically now I have IK mode and FK mode, right? So I need to have a control here to be the switch control. So I'll go new control. I'll change it to be no, boolean. So I'll call it left leg switch, which is my IKFK switch. Okay, so then what I need to do is that I need to get a branch. So from here, actually, I'm going to do a branch, which is asking the condition of is this control on or off? Check it. And then I'll say if it's true, I want it to be IK mode. If it's off, I want to be FK mode. So at the moment, you see it's darker here in white. So at the moment, it's the FK working. So if I move this, it won't work. But the FKs are working. And then if I switch this here to current, I'll change it to IK. Then the IK is working and FKs are not working. So that's how I switch. There is another thing that I like to do here, which is I posted about it. I'm sure there are other kind of clever ways of doing it. But basically what I want to do is that if the IK mode is on, oops, switch. If the IK mode is on, I want the FK controls to kind of follow the bone. So then when I switch, the FK controllers will keep that position. So this is what I'm doing here. So in FK mode, I want to create a parent constraint, which they rename all these things now, so it's really helpful. So here is IK control follows bone. So then which bone the IK control needs to follow? It's this ankle one here, which is left foot. So the child, oops, no, the parent is the left foot, and the child is the IK control. That means that when I'm in FK mode, hopefully, yeah, the IK follows it. And then if I switch, means the IK is already in the correct position. So now let's do the same. If the IK moves, the FK controls follow it. For that one, I literally just did the same parent constraint 3 times, one for each of the controls. So basically, parent constraint, and I have the child is the control, and the parent is the bone. Just did that 3 times, one for each control and each bone. So I prefer kind of looking here and left up leg, left leg here, and left foot here, then left leg in here and left foot in here. So basically now if I am in IK mode, as you can see the FK follows. And then if I switch to FK mode, then the IK follows. And then if I switch back, the IK is back working. So yeah, that's how it works. As I said, probably there are tons of ways to do this better, but that's how I'm doing for now. So FK controls follow bones. And then last thing I've done is automatically hiding the controls. So there is a new cool node as well, which is called hide controls. Very simple. Let me just move things a little bit. So I will do this twice. So basically I want to have my FK controls here. So these are my FK controls. And these are my IK controls. So basically if it's false, I want to run these and these and then execute. So I want my FK controls to be active and I want my IK controls to be non-active, right? So FK, I'm just seeing the FK here. And then we just do the opposite. The IK mode. So if it's true, I'll run these ones before, then I run this. And I want the FK controls to be not active, IK controls to be active. Let's see if it works. So if I switch, yeah, IK working. If I switch back, FK working. and hiding the controls as well. So yeah, that's the leg done. So then if you had to do the arms, it's exactly the same thing. I would just duplicate everything here, see how much we can reuse of it. And that's when you could like start creating modules, because this whole thing here could be just one module that you give the inputs, and it all kind of works with the names that you give. So first of things is just do the controls. So in this case there is a shoulder. I will just keep as an FK for the moment. So add controls for selected, left shoulder, left arm, left forearm, left hand, all placed nicely. Let's change this for a circle and possibly rotate. Is it Y? Yeah. 1.5. Okay, so then we have our, let's change this for left arm. So same thing, we just need to kind of replace things, right? So replace this array for, this is the controls one. So I put the controls here as an FK. Then I put the bones, have my FK chain. We go back to the height controls later, but basically then I just need to create my IK controls, which will be, one will be here. Let me create the no above selected. Let's go left shoulder. This will be the left hand IK control. I'll duplicate to make the pole vector. Oops. Let me place this pole vector here then. So that's why it's good to like creating this sequence, because I feel like in my head each of these sequences are one part of the body basically. So I do legs, then I do the arms, which is this one, exactly the same thing, right? Copy and paste. So here the bones are, just said that we ignore the shoulder for now. So arm, forearm, just the elbow, hand, the control is pole vector, hand. Let's see if this time it actually works. Where is it? Ah, yeah, it is, because I need to change this for sphere. Okay, cool. So pole vector is here in the middle of the world. Let's kind of tick and untick these boxes until it magically moves to the right place. So zero it out here. Oops, forgot to connect transform with transform. That's why. Cool. Yeah, so initial here. Show here? No. For some reason it's not offsetting. Let me see what I've done before. I honestly don't know. Oh, see, it looks like it looks like a little bug, and then suddenly it kind of pops to the right place with all zeroed. Yeah, that's a bit weird, but anyway, we'll take that. Yeah, so then let's connect the IKs in here. Same thing, so pull vector and IK controls, and then arms, arm, forearm, left hand. There you go. Oops, is all flip it because we need to play with these things in here. So let me just check what I've done before. So it's one in here, and then 0001. Yeah, that's it. So now we have your IK hands. One thing I've done is, oops, sorry. One thing I've done is that I created a FK chain for all the fingers. I'm not going to demonstrate it here, but basically, after you've done these sessions, I just created here an FK chain for the fingers as well. So same thing, IK control follows the bone. So here is the left hand IK, will be the child of the hand, left hand bone. And then the opposite, so the left arm control, the forearm control, left hand control will follow the bones. So arm, forearm, left hand. And then final thing is just creating the switch. So I actually just duplicate this and call left arm switch. This is not visible anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, so then I'm going to get control, and then the boolean value in here I'll attach to this one, and then we do the same with the FK controls array. So this one is connecting here, and this one is connecting. Oops. And this one is connecting here. Then IK controls. So basically now if I have a IK is moving, if I switch to FK, FK controls follow. If I then rotate and switch again, IK is following. One thing that we can implement in here is making this automatically be like position it, or you can turn on and on if you want these to follow the positions or not. that's a kind of a secondary thing. Okay, so now for the spine. This is a very simple way of doing it. I got some inspiration from Gabriella's YouTube videos, but I felt like I would just like strip it down a little bit more and made it simpler. So basically, you still have a switch, you still have an FK chain, an IK chain. Sorry, my dog is making a lot of noise. Huh? Come on, did you say hello? Ooh. Hello. Um, so basically, I'm not going through building it straightforward, but like is exactly the same setup we've done. One FK, one IK. The difference is that the FK I've only done with the 3 spine joints. And then I created 4 IK joints. So one for the bottom, one for the top, and the 2 tangents, let's say, because in this case we are using a spline IK, which gives this effect. So then for the spline IK here, before we had just a normal IK, so now we have a spline FK. I need to go a bit deeper on this, but basically it needs 4 points to work. So I've added the 4 IK controls and then the 4 bones. You need to kind of watch for the axis here. And then it's important that like here in the hierarchy is actually a little bit different. So I have a body control, which is not in the FK control. It is as a second thing that happens. So first I do the switch, FK, IK. Then second, I do a parent constraint from the hip joint to follow the hips control. This is the hips FK control, which lives here under the hips IK control. So it's a bit confusing. So if you move the hips IK, you're also moving the hips FK because it's under it. So you're also moving the hips joint. And then I have another control, which is a body control, which is not parented to any of the joints, but because it's actually parent of all the other controls, if I move it, then it kind of works as we normally would expect these joints this control to work as a main body one. So basically just I have a spine switch here, which is the same thing as switch to the FK. My FK controls are here. I can just use the FK, or I can just use the IK. And then I have a body control, which is just a shape. And then under that I have the FK controls. And then the top IK control. And then I have another one, so under the body I have the hips IK control, which then has the hips FK control under it. And then the 2 tangents live here. I'm still not happy with the way this works. Like the body is moving way too much. I feel like this structure of this character, the way it has hips and it goes straight up to a higher spine, also is not the best. We prefer to have kind of two similar joints in here and not having to play with the hips. So not having to have the hips here as it requires 4 points. But yeah, it's just room for improvement. Another thing that's important is that I changed the spine to be the first thing to be calculated. So as soon as the forward solve starts, calculates the spine, then I calculate the leg, then I calculate the arm. That's because if I don't do that, then when I move the spine, the arm is already calculated and it doesn't give me that effect of moving like this and the hands and feet stay in place. I would move it and the things will kind of, arms and feet will also move. So that's why I changed the order. So another thing I've done is just adding an FK for the head and neck. Just so we, again, just so we have it in here, but so create an array, FK chain, and then of course this can be much more complex. In this case I'm just going easy and just having something that we can start working with. I put that as part of this spine, so as a last thing that is going to be calculated is this FK chain. So yeah, now you have your whole body working, and you also have, oops, and you don't have working. So neck and head, neck and head. I actually added them under these ones. So these will follow them, and then, oops. Look, it's locked. Oops. I've done bones in place of controls and controls in place of bones. There you go. So yeah, then you have these, and if you move the spine, the head also moves with it. As I said, a lot of things that you could work to make this a bit more well, intelligent, but at this point I would just live with it. Here you can also offset a little bit of the location. And then, yeah, so you have your, oops, actually it's better if it's a cube. I'll call cube. Box, and this will be a circle, and rotate 90 degrees. Possibly change this to 2 as well. Perfect. So last thing now is colorizing the controls. I've done this. It's just a cool thing that you can do now in the setup event. So to make it even easier, what I've done is I selected all the controls, create an array, and then there is something called Colorize, I think. Colorize controls. again, this is in setup event. So you can define what plane you want. So here, explaining that what is on the left side is one color, what is on the right side is another color. But you could also change, you know, what is up and what is down. And this also changes the color for the middle. So you have center controller at the moment, so yellow, and then left side green, right side is red. So let's say I want blue as the left side. I could change this in here. Just put her back in. She's destroying my chair. Yeah, so that's it. I'm going to show as the last thing how to do the backwards. So I might just bring the rig that I've used it before, that I've done previously, because it has both left and right sides. Cool, so this is the rig I mentioned that I had fully working. It's exactly the same thing I showed in the previously. So the last thing is the backward solve. What this thing does is that if you have an animation, it will parent the bones. You make the bones control the controls. So then you will position the controls where the bones are. So basically, to do that, what you use is you use a set transform array. And basically you give a transform and you give the items, and then that's it really. So the items will be the controls, so in this case the FK controls, and then the transforms will come from the joints, so basically all the joints, and then you get transform array and then transforms, and that will give you all the FK positions for all of these. I've done in two different ways because you can see the list is quite long. Need to make sure the order is correct. So 38 is right hand middle 2, 38 right hand or middle 2 as a control and bones. Sorry, this is wrong actually. It's because I didn't finish the right hand. So let's get a better example. So yeah, number 3 spine to control, number 3 spine to bone. And then I've done another one just for the IK joint controls, because they're much less, but they're not in order. I felt it was a bit easier to do that in two different ways. And that's it. If you have these, then what you can do is that you can have a sequencer. Drag into the sequencer. Don't need a control rig now. Basically, if you have an animation, so that's animation just driven by the joint, right? So then if we come here and bake to control rig, and it gives you these options, which at the moment I'm not changing anything. And then you have all your controls following it. So it's all in IK because that's the standard that we have as the rig now. As I said, an improvement will be making these pole vectors follow the animation, so then you don't get these crazy flips. But here also, if you switch to FK, let's delete these keyframes and make them all FK. It would still work because in our backwards solve we basically put FKs and IK controls, so they're all following the position of the bones. Yeah, that's the end of it. I hope it was helpful. Uh, it was much longer than I thought. But yeah, leave me any comments or yeah, just let me know if it was helpful or if there's something it could be improved or something you would do differently. Yeah, thank you.